The Magic Years, you said, comes out in May. You subtitled Scenes from a Rock and Roll Life. The opening anecdote, you are reporting firsthand from Newport, where Dylan goes electric. I've read that account of that story in several different books from people who were journalists reproducing the scene. I don't think I've ever read a firsthand account from somebody who was standing on the side of the stage and was able to tell everything that was going on. How did you find yourself there, and what does that say about the trajectory of the story we'd read in the book?
Right. So I was 18 years old. I had graduated high school and was going to Princeton. And my older brother knew a guy named Paul Clayton, who was an ethnomusicologist, which is a person who studies folk music, so to speak. And I wanted to go to the Newport Folk Festival. Of course, I had no idea that Bob Dylan was going to revolutionize the world at that time, but I was a huge Dylan fan. And Like a Rolling Stone was playing on the radio all that summer. And so Paul Clayton got me a backstage pass, and I was introduced to a guy named Jeff Moldar, who was a great blues singer, was in a band called the Question Jug Band.
Yeah.
He and his wife, Maria, were extraordinary players, and the Question Jug Band needed a road manager for the weekend. So I said, I'm in, and they introduced me to their manager, who was Albert Grossman. And Albert Grossman was the manager of Bob Dylan, Peter, Paul and Mary, Janis Joplin, Odetta, the Butterfield Blues Band. I mean, just pretty much everybody. And so I just found myself in the right place at the right time. I found myself there, and Bob decided on a whim, literally a whim, to play electric on Sunday night. And he didn't really rehearse with the band. He took the Butterfield Blues Band rhythm section and Mike Bloomfield, who was the guitar player in the Butterfield, and he kind of threw it together, and it was a little all over the place. It was not very well rehearsed, I'll admit that. Mm-hmm. But the reaction of the fans, which were folk music fans, was horrible. They hated it. They wanted him to sing Blowing in the Wind or Tambourine Man. And so they started booing. And after 3 songs, he just walked off the stage. And like the audience was completely shocked. Oh, what have we done? We've driven away our great hero. and then, he was down, and they were clapping for him to come back. And Peter Yarrow was trying to get him back up on the stage. And eventually Johnny Cash came out of the musician's tent and just handed him an acoustic guitar and said, "Play them a song, son." And he kind of reluctantly went up to the stage, and he played "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue," and which was like a kiss-off song, and that was it. And then, from there, I just started working for Grossman. I did work for the Jug Band for a year, and then eventually Bob decided he wanted to go electric, and the band, people had been called Levon and the Hawks, became his backup band. And then from there it just went, and eventually I wound up being the tour manager for Bob and the band. We went to England and did the Isle of Wight, and it was an extraordinary time. It was, we went to Woodstock, the band, and
Do you think there was anything about the way that the musicians, the music scene, the business, the promoters kind of handled their business and their relationship with the public that was somehow then more conducive to cultivating a healthy national conversation? I'm not sure that anybody would have done society favors, but trying to emulate the lifestyle of most of those musicians. But somehow the message of the lyric and the way it's made us feel as listeners certainly cultivated something kind and loving and empathetic that we still talk about as a legendary phase of American culture to this day. I think that there's lessons to be learned for today's
Yeah,
music business.
I think there are. I mean, think about it, that Bob Dylan played at the March on Washington in 1963 in front of 250,000 people.
As a very young man, I guess a kid. Yeah.
Okay. And so what was Martin Luther King's message? I have a dream. It was an incredibly positive message. And it was a message that came from a place of love. It was baked into nonviolence. I was a member of an organization called the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And there were white people, white kids, black kids, brown kids. It was very nice, mixed together time. And in that sense, the music, the culture, and the politics was all one. It was completely together. If you listened to Bob Dylan, you believed in the things that Bob Dylan believed in. And the same way, if you believed in those things, you heard some of that music that was part of the movement. So, I mean, I think the message I take away is that culture and artists can play a huge role in making a society wake up and think about things. It's not that they have to go and legislate or do anything, but they can play an important role in an awareness. And as you pointed out, in the BLM movement this summer, we saw some of that. And what made me feel so good was it's the same sense of black and white together. We're all in this together and we're going to lift it up. So the book tells these tales. It tells, you know, I went on to do the concert for Bangladesh with George Harrison and had many scary times trying to get smacked out Eric Clapton on stage. I went on to work with the Rolling Stones. I went on to then make movies with Marty Scorsese, not really knowing what I was doing, but, you know, thinking that I could make movies. And we made Mean Streets and The Last Waltz. And so it does seem to me that, you know, there's a chance for a cultural renaissance. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. And I think my hope is that if people read the stories from 1962 to 1989, they'll see that there is a continuity there where artists from Bob Dylan to Bono, you believed they had a role to play in society. And they weren't going to just say, I'm here for the Benjamins. You know, I mean, was not the idea. And unfortunately, too much of pop culture is all about the Benjamins right now.
Great place to leave it off. John Taplin, thanks a lot. I look forward to reading the rest of the new book. And thanks for the thought-provoking conversation and et cetera, et cetera. But great to see you today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey, you're both welcome. And on behalf of the audience, let me thank you both for sharing your wisdom. And John, you're just, every time I interact with you, I'm blown away by another nugget that I learn about you. And today was no exception. So thanks for all your great work, all your creative work, and all your important, shall we say, scientific work. Please keep doing it.
Thank you.
To the audience, thank you for being here, and please come back on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we're featuring another one of my heroes, Stuart Copeland, the founding member and drummer from the Police, is going to appear with Ralph Simon, the Goodwill ambassador, global music industry, global ambassador of Goodwill. And so in the meantime, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.